Hey yo, what's up everybody? It's Saint JJ. Today we're coming back a video basically talking about Flint Finance itself. Basically, they are doing Bitcoin cover calls, and after that over here there's Ethereum cover calls as well, and of course USDC for the DeFi platform. Then Vega staking for centralized node, decentralized node staking, and of course over here you can see that they can basically project you up to 1.73% within a single 28 days, almost a month. If let's say you put in one Bitcoin, your gains will be 0.017, and of course this calculator itself is just a projection based on their past performance, so it's not a guaranteed one. And of course this video itself is not a financial advice video. Instead, this is just a video sharing like this type of passive income opportunity in the cryptocurrency space. And of course, if you want to use it, I'm not liable for the losses and stuff like this. So I would say I'm going to share with you on my channel itself how much money have I made, how much money have I lost using Flint Finance, and of course totally transparent. Not gonna censor out those losses or stuff like this. On the channel itself, I believe in transparency, and of course Flint Finance itself, they also do respect the transparency that they are offering. And after that, without further ado, if let's say you have not subscribed to the channel, kindly leave a thumbs up to this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out my Patreon, which is all linked down below. So we're gonna basically dive into the topic itself, what have happened on Flint Finance previously. Previously, Flint Finance has basically made some losses, and I would say it's quite a huge loss for those who have subscribed during past 2 weeks. But of course, if let's say you want to know more about Flint Finance, I already done a playlist on my YouTube channel, which you can click on it. Basically, it's gonna pop up. Just click on it to learn more about Flint Finance. And of course, we're gonna dive into the losses that it has made previously on the Bitcoin cover call itself, Ethereum, USDC, and of course Vega itself. It was doing fine. Nothing much have happened, but on the Bitcoin cover call itself, is their largest asset, and I would say their most incentive product that people who's gonna subscribe to is definitely the Bitcoin one, because over here we can see all the red line itself. The red line is all the gains being made from week to week, and of course this operation since inception itself on basically September till date itself, basically they have been operating for almost, I would say, maybe 6 months or 7 months coming there. And of course, during this period itself, they have made an awesome gain of 24% within 6 months, around 6 to 7 months itself. And after that, from there, I would say during the previous 2 weeks itself, they have done a huge loss, basically 10.04%. And of course, from there, whoever subscribed there itself, I'm sorry for your loss. And of course, I believe that Flint Finance itself, they are not here to do an exit rug pull or whatsoever, but over here it's just being transparent that even though during a continuously of 6 months of winning streak itself, they can have a drawdown itself. And of course, this drawdown itself basically wipe out half of the earnings, basically 3 months of gains, it's being wiped out. And of course, since using the data as previous recorded itself, during this 6 months, they made like 24%, and after that, within this single week, they managed to do a 10% drawdown. But of course, this over here, you might be thinking that it's too far risky for you. And after that, I would say, if let's say you see this is very risky, please do not invest into Flint Finance. But of course, this is for those who are looking to generate passive income and willing to take the risk on Flint Finance itself. So over here for Flint Finance itself, what have happened is basically the strike price that they have basically entered in was 22K, and after that $500 of Bitcoin, this strike price, and after the discover call. But unfortunately, Bitcoin price eventually went to like 26,000 or even higher, and of course this incurred a loss. So if you scroll down itself, the loss itself, they have 59 Bitcoin in total asset itself, and of course during that week itself, they lost 10% of it, basically 5.971 Bitcoin was lost on this Bitcoin covered call option itself. But over here we can see on Discord itself, they have explained what have happened. And of course, if let's say they did not do a stop loss, we will be losing much more money. And of course, we can see that over here. This week, due to the wild fluctuation, and after that, one of the most trusted stablecoin in the ecosystem, USDC, USD Central itself, has impacted the whole market itself due to the failure of this Silvergate Bank, Silicon Valley Bank, and after that, from there, Signature Bank itself, which has impacted the whole crypto market. And after that, from there, the volatility was crazy. So over here, what have happened itself, the US itself has banks of failures, and after that, from there, US citizens does not really trust the bank. Somehow do not trust the bank, so they are moving their funds into crypto, I assume. Therefore, the price of Bitcoin itself has went up itself. So for the Bitcoin itself, due to the extraordinary reaction of the Fed itself, the Bitcoin 5x position for this week has been stopped out. So over here, by stop out itself, it is their own strategy of risk management that they think that this price itself is definitely the last point that they want to take it and after lose the money, I mean like do a realized loss. So over here you can see that currently the 5x strategy itself hold no position, so they have already closed the position and made a loss of 10.2%. So this was the estimate. And after that, from there, for this week itself, in terms of Bitcoin, the position initially entered on Friday evening, had a strike price of $22,500. The stop loss was executed before the position entered basically in the money itself, and was decided in the order to limit the potential losses of the customer funds itself. So over here, if let's say we see that they made a stop loss earlier than waiting for the whole transaction, I mean the whole contract to close itself. So what would have happened itself? So over here, if let's say they did not do a stop out earlier than expected, I mean like they have a contract of 7 days and of course there's an expiry. So if let's say they held the position throughout the whole of the contract itself, 7 days, and of course over here there's some people on the Discord asking if let's say they have been held, how much will be lost itself. So over here on Plane itself, the admin just showed is setting the expiry date, setting expiry price as 26,000 itself, the loss will be approximately around 66% of the whole asset itself. So the price of Bitcoin was 22.5, their strike price, and of course it went up above like maybe 23 or 24 itself, and after that eventually they deem that the price itself is going to go higher, and of course to prevent the loss, the more loss that is possible, basically up to 66% or even more, basically Flynn Finance itself did a smart choice by closing out the position. And of course some investor itself might be sulky, and after that from there you might be thinking that this platform should make money instead of losing money. And once people lose money itself, they would not trust the platform. But to be honest itself, if you want to compare it with like other platform itself out there have been other platform making losses as well. But of course I would say this over here is just a lesson for everybody to know that this platform itself is not 100% guarantee money making platform. Instead there is risk associated with this, and of course this is the risk. But we're gonna talk about other platform now. So by comparing with the competitor itself, like Ribbon Finance, and of course from there we're gonna look at some of the detail. I mean, I did not know about this because Hank was one of the person that told me about this Ribbon Finance, and after that from there I know about them, but of course do not know what they're actually doing. So here on Ribbon Finance itself, they are doing something similar, basically option cost trading, but instead of using like 5x, they use 1x. So over here there's this is the Bitcoin Valve. So over here what he have shown me itself, this is basically from Ribbon Finance. They did a one-time call option as well, and they have basically a negative 15% worse than what Flynn Finance did. Basically Flynn Finance was 10.04% losses, and after that from there we can see that this over here has some discrepancy that is somehow shitty, and of course I mean somehow a bit scammy, sketchy. So over here we can see since inception itself, we can see the yield accumulator itself is showing 0%, and after starting of September, basically the same period where Flynn Finance started out. So over here for the accumulated times itself, we can see that for Ribbon Finance itself, it has basically made like 10% within 3 months, within 3 months of inception. But over here they made a loss, and after eventually went down to 5%, and of course eventually much more losses itself was made, almost like 10% shown over here. But over here it shows that the snapshot previously was showing like around 15% in losses. So I do not know how does this accumulative yield works on Ribbon Finance. It seems a bit not transparent, but of course they are trying to cover up something. So I do not know what is that. It's not talking about a point of view that I'm affiliated with Flynn Finance, and after that I'm just showing you this data to this like Ribbon Finance or something like that. But it's just a personal opinion that as an investor, if let's say I'm not biased, or let's say not affiliated with Flynn Finance, if let's say I compare these two sides itself, I would basically see there's some discrepancy of data over here, and after that from there I will tell you my true opinion. So I would say Ribbon Finance itself is somehow covering up something, but over here we can see that this projected yield itself is somehow a bit sketchy, because what they are doing is basically their weekly yield itself is equals to, I mean this is their formula of calculation. I do not know how it works, but I can see that they are basically doing a calculation yield that is more favorable for users to see, and after that from there looking at this 100%, you seems like you want to invest into it. But on Flynn Finance itself, what they are doing itself is far more lesser. They can basically they can just show you off that they can do 100% or even 200%, but instead they did not do that because they are providing full transparency itself. So me and Hank was talking about itself, and after that from there this 76 APY itself that they are showing is incorrect. And of course, yeah, I mean whatever Flynn Finance is doing, they do a good job, but of course, or whatever Ribbon Finance wish to do and cover up is up to them. And of course I believe that in this ecosystem itself, trust and transparency itself is one of the biggest concern if it comes to this kind of call option, higher investment platform, the platform must definitely show true transparency for users to invest with them and after that trust them. So put aside of this competitor skin itself, I'm just gonna show you my platform gains itself, the true gains and after that the losses made. So here we're seeing this over here. So over here on this this form itself, we can see that the subscription amount was 1.96. So you might be thinking, how much have I put in? So honest opinion itself, the amount that I put in into Flynn Finance was around 2.1 Bitcoin, and after that over here you can see there's a returns of basically negative amount due to the last week strategy itself. I was into the strategy, and after that from there many people are into the strategy and money has been lost. Therefore you can see there's a discrepancy of amount. So we here 59 and after that minus 5.9, it should be around 54, but the subscribe amount itself was only 38 because I believe users that somehow distrust Flynn Finance because of this loss being made basically got filtered out, and after that from there they miss out the 1% gain that the Flynn Finance made during the previous week call option itself. If let's say you held on itself negative 10%, you might be now at negative 9%. And of course, Flynn Finance itself, I have talked to Hank, and after that asked him what is the expected like recovery period of time for this loss itself. He just told me, if let's say you are using like compound interest itself, if let's say you are going to yield, and after that from there just let it subscribe for almost 2 to 3 months itself, maximum 4 months. During this period itself, I would say maximum 4 months itself, you can make back the money that is being lost. But of course, due to compound interest itself, you can make it shorter by 3%. Or if let's say Flynn Finance have a lucky strategy or whatsoever, in the future itself, you can bring it down to 2 months itself. So by looking at this itself, 1 week of 1%, if they can consistently do this itself within 10 weeks, basically 10 or maybe 9 weeks itself, 9 to 8 weeks itself, they can basically make back the money being lost for this strategy. So whoever lost their money and after this trust Flynn Finance itself, I would say that I'm happy that those people went out because yeah, they have felt something that is legit, that you lost money, and after that you might be thinking that this is impossible to make back. But to be honest, holding with them itself is much more logical for me. If let's say how am I gonna make back my 10%? If let's say I lose that money of 10%, I do not know how to trade, I do not know how to do option trading. I might even make more losses if let's say I do try to recover my funds like somewhere out in the rainbow in the ecosystem. And after that, I'm going to show you the actual gains itself. So during that time itself, I have around 2.1 plus Bitcoin being subscribed, and of course 10% loss itself was bringing me down 0.2119, almost 0.212 worth of Bitcoin being lost on the subscription itself. But of course, I tried to do something to adjust. So over here on my Ethereum gains itself, I would say Ethereum itself is doing fairly good. And I mean, I just unsubscribed recently to do some management. So over here we can see that on this itself, the returns itself has been strike off because I unsubscribed totally. But of course, on the gains itself, I put in around 5 Ethereum, 5.1 Ethereum, 5 Ethereum, and after that it made me like 0.15 worth of Ethereum, basically by generating with their strategy call of 3 times. But of course, for Bitcoin itself, slightly now is in the negative zone, basically 6% more to go to basically go to profit itself. So with this itself, I'm expecting to recover the funds for maybe I would say 2 months, 2 months to basically make a profit out of this event itself. But of course, I was subscribed previously. Before the loss itself, I made like around 3% or 4% in gains, and after that from there when the loss hit me itself, I did not lose as much as expected, like 10%. For those who have invested earlier on this day itself, this week itself, if let's say you lose the money, over here 10% is gone, it's gonna be hard to basically make back your money itself. So some of the thoughts that I want to share. So over here you have on the platform itself, you can make money, you can lose money, and of course it's all about your luck itself. I mean by luck, what do I mean by luck? For us individual user itself, if let's say you are holding your holding the gains itself, making tons of gains within the month itself, and of course if you are lucky enough, you basically unsubscribe during that week itself, you are able to keep your 20% gains and of course make no losses. But nobody can predict that. Therefore, I would say always do your risk management properly. And of course, if let's say you are making like, let's say you're putting 2.1 Bitcoin into the platform, and of course, if you have made a gain of like maybe 0.5 Bitcoin, for example, and of course, if you want to minimize the losses that can be incurred in the future itself, it's simple to do so just by doing the unsubscribing amount. If let's say you have 2.7 Bitcoin in total itself, I mean 2.6, because you initially put in 2.1 and you made a gain of 0.5. So what you want to do is simple, just click over on this platform, just type 0.5, take out your gains, and after that keep your initial insight to basically roll, and after that from there you will lose the compounding effect, but at least you are losing less than 2.7 of 10% in the future. If let's say there's a 10% drawdown or even more, you are still able to keep this amount over here that you have generated. And of course, for my case itself, I was not really in the platform for, I mean, like for my own strategy itself, I'm looking at maybe 3 months of gains. I'm gonna basically take out the gains, and after that maybe some of the funds, then after that let it roll with my initial capital, and after that eventually let it keep rolling instead of compounding it for throughout the 6 month 1 year itself. You can just do a withdrawal of like maybe every 3 to 6 months itself. You can just do a withdrawal, and after that from there, if let's say you're feeling that the week itself, if let's say you have some news out there telling you that the market is not going to do well within this week itself, you might want to cancel out with the option call trading. You can just unsubscribe the whole amount, and after that wait for the next subscription. And if let's say you're lucky enough and you predicted it, you can share it with the Discord group, and after that from there you can help them improve their strategy, and of course eventually everybody can make money all together. So I would say I'm not going to force you to put your money in or whatsoever. If let's say you are interested in putting in, and after that from there showing like generate some passive income, feel free to do so using the link down below, because you can get free stuff like discount codes, and after that free Bitcoin if let's say you have subscribed into the strategy itself. So I've come to the end of the video. If you like the video, kindly leave a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and of course turn on post notification, and I'm gonna see you on the next one. Bye bye. Peace.